Kia ora. Shift in traditional teaching mindsets, PLD 3. Now, a big change has to occur within ourselves as the educators. Now, I say this so boldly as we are the creators and the moulders of young minds and essentially the future of our world. Now, our world being in the current state it is, we will need to have these great minds to help save our world. Now, I've been in the education game for over 14 years, and the hardest shift I need to acknowledge is the shift within the mindset as an educator. I traditionally was the holder of all power within the classroom. I controlled the learning process, and the formula I had created was a recipe for my teaching success in controlling the classroom and both learning and behaviour. Now, over 6 years ago, I was introduced to an inclusive, supportive, all in the waka approach to shifting my mindset at Tarawera High School, championed by Helen Tuhoro, the principal. Our staff were fully immersed in consistent professional learning and development with expert guidance by Sam Gibson and all things digital learning tools, open modern learning environments, and a massive shift in 21st century pedagogy. Now, the shift within my mindset and the team of educators around me was monumental. We were consistently challenged and faced with issues and problems we did not have to consider in a single cell classroom earlier. Now, this process can take its time and its toll on even the most weathered veterans of our education game. And after all, as we get older and more experience in the science of teaching, we hardwire responses to stimuli. The elasticity of the brain becomes less and less as we get older. You literally have to break existing neurological pathways in order to recreate and form new ones. And this process takes time, consistency, and also support. I've seen all too many educators in tears, change schools, and even leave the teaching profession. Now, we definitely don't need that in our current time in today's world. And this was all parts of the change process, and it was such a difficult time for the professional within the professional. So what can you take away from this excerpt and put into practice? What parts will you need to look at? And what do you need to know in order to be successful moving forward? Now, before I go into this next part here, if you go here to the resources section down the very bottom left, you're going to find a resource called Managing Change Diagram. I will click and open it now. Now, with this diagram here, to explain it, I'll open it up first. And the diagram helps to explain how you're feeling and why. So, for example, you've got here change, effective change. You will have all of these things lined up for that change process to be effective and successful. And also, it'll be a long-term change. It won't be a flash in the pan. But if there is confusion, for example, here in the first box, and there's no vision, so if you're feeling confused, it is because there is no vision, but they will have the skills, incentive, resources, and action plan. If you are feeling anxiety in the change process, you have a vision, but a lack of skills within the change process. If there is resistance as a feeling, it is potentially because there is no incentive for the change. How will it benefit the students? As a question to ask as an example. If you are feeling frustrated, you come down here, there is a lack of resources. Now, this is consistent within quite a few schools, whether it's iPads, Chromebooks, one-to-one, one-to-four, and frustrated is what educators can feel purely because they have all of these things lined up of vision, skills, incentive, and an action plan, but no resources yet. And the last feeling here, treadmill, is when they have all of these parts here, but no action plan. So here to the far left, for effective, sustainable, and successful change, you need all of these areas to line up for it to be effective within your classroom, department, or school. All cold. Now so things that you can take away, and some takeaways from this PLD here. What do you need to know in order to be successful moving forward? 1, you need a leader who will champion the change. It is a direct leadership style that is required. And again, with the whole growth mindset approach, you're allowed to make mistakes. You make mistakes as a team, but you need someone who's going to champion the change, or some people, like a change team, for example. 2, immerse your world in all things 21st century teaching and learning. Surround yourself with like-minded people on the same journey, and be part of the social media forums and platforms that are available for you, for us, to connect and help shift and change your mindset, if you're that way inclined. 3, a growth mindset approach to absolutely everything, in every interaction, situation, and model consistently by the leader and others within the change team. For example, hey James, I don't know how to work this Google document thingy. Response, you don't know how to work it yet, Sam. Not yet. 4, a newly learnt mindset of GFGI. Now this stands for Go Find, Google It, amongst the whole team of teachers, school, staff, as if you don't know something, you don't know it yet. What can you do about it? GFGI, Go Find and Google It. 5, a collaborative agreement, treaty or set of guidelines that the staff can look at and refer to when times get tough. Down on the resources section, I have linked in Collaborative Teacher's Guide here. And with this part, I've set up a document that you can copy, paste, add, take away, and just looks at a set of goals and reflection points within the change that could be happening or is happening within your school. Six, immerse your world in brain science and the elasticity of the brain. Nathan Makari-Wallace reference. That's where I did my PLD and loved the kaupapa and the learning I took from there. And this will help the teams or the teachers transition an understanding of the why it is so hard to change for human beings and for yourself. Now, in summary, moving the mindset of the educator is the biggest hurdle. Once we conquer this, we will be unstoppable within the 21st century teaching and learning space. Biggest hurdle, okay? And this is why I called my website Moving Mindsets. Here down below, please click this icon here to jump into a forum, and please pose questions, answers, anything to help and share to create our community, to share with other like-minded professionals within this space. Kia ora.